the latest episode of ISJ, Leaders in Security. Today I'm joined by Howard Leedham, MBE. Howard is a former Royal Navy pilot and UK Special Forces officer who subsequently diversified at sea level in the financial, aviation and security sectors. He's an experienced executive and non-executive director and has lived and worked in the Middle East for much of the past 15 years. Thank you for joining us today, Howard. How are you?
I'm good, fine. Thank you very much. And, nice to be joining you from Dubai.
Fantastic, thanks. And obviously the reason we're speaking today is that you've been appointed as an expert consultant for Intersec 2022. What do you feel your major contribution will be in that role?
Well, I think just to give you a little bit of background, more than the background that you just gave, was pre-COVID. I was involved with the organisers of Intersec in a different exhibition or a different conference, which basically had a global forum with a security focus. So that was really when the relationship really started with Intersec, and using that global network in order to come up with not only content advisors, but also with ideas for content of Intersec. And so what I try and do is I try and use my experience in the various sectors and obviously with the focus on security to try and bring some new ideas and some new dynamics to Intersec, so that it's not just the usual run-of-the-mill event. And so that's really what I try and do.
Good, fantastic. And now looking at the conferences at Intersec, I mean, protecting future cities and citizens and safeguarding critical infrastructure are two of the 6 conferences. What do you consider the current and future threat landscape to look like for urban environments? And what advice would you give to the security industry?
Well, the obviously the issue so far as the threat landscape and for urban environments is there's the strategic threat, if you like, and then there's the more tactical threat, as I would term it. From the strategic threat, obviously the key components are power, electrical power, and water, and especially in the Middle East. Without those, then you're really in quite a situation, especially during the summer. So it's that kind of safeguarding against that critical infrastructure, when you start off at those absolutely vital infrastructure components, and then you start bringing it down all the way down through the filters to the tactical, if you like, the tactical security components, where you're protecting against people that have bad intent and that have capability to actually execute that intent. So there's two extremes of the scale, and I've just given you sort of the 2 examples, and then it's everything in between, whether it's commerce, whether it's logistics, in the whole infrastructure picture. And obviously what Intersec does is it literally goes from one end of the scale to the other. So whatever aspect of security you're interested in, it's no exaggeration to say Intersec has something for you.
Fantastic, that's great. And I mean, as an experienced security operative and consultant, I mean, how do you think nations can improve their security cooperation to mitigate the risks?
Well, of course, the problem with improving security cooperation is that you've got a bit of a double-edged sword, because certainly the cooperation that nations need in order to learn from others' mistakes or other experiences is vital to moving forward. But on the other end of the scale, you've also got the problem of keeping your security secure and sharing information, has to be conducted over a long period of time where trust can be instilled between the nations in order that they feel comfortable sharing their security protocols with other countries, because obviously you don't want it to leak to the wrong people. So in answer to your question, how can they improve their security cooperation, is that it's got to be a long, slow burn with a strategic aim at the end of it. And I think that's you're seeing that happen. You're seeing it happen particularly in this region now. You've seen the Abraham Accords here with the different nations cooperating in order to try and enhance the security of the region in order to mitigate the chances of anything adverse happening that could cause cause conflict.
Okay, fantastic. Okay, no, interesting. Thank you. I mean, switching focus then to cyber security and actually giving you experience in hostage negotiation, what advice would you give companies who have suffered a ransomware attack? And what do you think are the critical first steps for them to take?
Well, Matthew, first of all, I would stress that two things. Although yes, I've experience in physical kidnap and ransom negotiation and that crisis resolution. I'm not a cyber expert, but without a doubt, the problem with malware is real and present. It's here, and it's inevitable that some people that listening to this interview are unfortunately going to get hit by a malware attack at some time. And so the only thing that you can do, in my opinion, is in order to mitigate against these attacks, is to ensure that, first of all, that you understand your situation, you understand where your vulnerabilities are, you understand what you can cope without and what you can't cope without in your IT spectrum. And certainly, so far as our company is concerned, is that what we do is we ensure that all our systems are backed up offline. So, in other words, the backup done onto two separate hard drives that are not connected to the internet. So anything that we if we were attacked, anything that we would lose from an attack, we have stored away in two separate hard drives in order to recover all the information that is crucial to our business. Obviously, if you are attacked, then the immediate action is you've got to lock it down, and you've got to lock down your system as quickly and as efficiently as you can. And obviously, contingency plans in order to do that are going to be important, and also knowing what you need to lock down. Now, again, I'm not a cyber expert, but so far as locking down the right parts of your system is going to be something that your CIO or your IT specialist should have in his back pocket. And then the other steps are obviously you've got to try and identify what the patient zero as they call it, so the source of the evil, the source of the infection, and then identify the infection. Now, so far as actually paying the ransom, that is going to be a decision for any corporate, and obviously that is an individual's decision. Mm-hmm. What I would say though is that when paying the ransom, yes, you're going to get your information back sometimes, but it is said that once a ransom is paid, you can probably expect another attack within the next 12 months, and there's something like a 70% chance that you will get targeted again. So what you then got to do is you've got to put in all the safeguards to make sure that attack cannot reoccur, because otherwise the chances are is that it will. That's been a bit of a long answer, I know.
No, really interesting. Thank you. That's really good advice. And now, just looking ahead, I mean, what do you see as some of the greatest future security challenges in the Middle East region?
Sadly, the Middle East. I'm not telling anybody any news here. As a history of instability, and so that is without a doubt the biggest challenge, is to maintain the current protocols towards achieving regional stability and the safeguards that are coming in order to do that. Yes, there's always going to be, sadly, probably always going to be protagonists. And I don't need to go into detail here where those protagonists are, but sadly, as things appear at the moment, is that whilst there is a protagonist, and that does enter challenges, is that what it has done is it has consolidated the kind of cooperation, strategic cooperation that we talked about earlier, and the challenges is going to be to maintain that momentum.
I mean, as I mentioned earlier, the reason we're speaking today is this new role that you have with Intersec, and there's actually been quite a new, quite exciting initiative introduced to Intersec 2022 called the Fridge. I mean, can you just explain the concept of the Fridge, please, and how this will be translated at the event?
Yeah, sure. Now, I don't know whether viewers will be aware, but in a SCIF environment, so in a secure room environment, a room that is secure against eavesdropping and electronic warfare. The nickname for that kind of room is called the Fridge, so that you can discuss things in the fridge that you may not be able to discuss outside it, particularly if you're in a national security scenario. So the idea that we came up with for Intersec was look, there are people in the security sector want to come to an event such as Intersec, and they actually want to learn something. They actually want to get informed of something interesting that perhaps they wouldn't otherwise get to learn. So what we did is we said, okay, let's come up with this name, the Fridge, where the briefings and the presentations can perhaps be a bit more selective in terms of the subject matter, so that whilst obviously we can't discuss anything that is going to give away secrets, but we can talk to selected audiences about specific security items that might not otherwise be able to be discussed in a completely open forum. And so that really is the concept of the Fridge. So it's to try and pull in security specialists into an environment where specific subjects can be spoken about that might not be spoken about on the street.
That's great, thank you. As I said, really exciting and quite an interesting innovation as well. And I mean, this upcoming edition of Intersec is offering a far greater depth of conversation and insight. I mean, it's got more than 500 international speakers, as well as hundreds of exhibitors from around the world. I mean, why are events like Intersec so critical to the industry?
Well, I think we've seen we've seen during the pandemic how important or we've recognised the void that is created when you can't network and you can't go out and actually walk into an exhibition or a conference centre and see the equipment that's on display. So obviously Intersec in Dubai is one of the flagship events. I'm not sure. I think it's something like the 16th year, and it's one of the largest security exhibitions in the world. And so, I would say this, wouldn't I? But it's the go-to event in my opinion. And this year, because obviously during the pandemic, no events could be held. This year should be really interesting because we're going to see a lot of new equipment that hasn't otherwise been there, and also a lot of new post-COVID ideas, which will not have been fielded before by the expert speakers who are appearing there.
Brilliant. Yeah, I'm obviously really looking forward to it myself as well. I mean, thanks again for your time today, Howard. Really appreciate it. It's been a real pleasure to speak with you. And obviously, I look forward to seeing you out in Dubai in January.
Fantastic.
For Intersec 2022. Thank you to everyone for watching as well. And for more information on Intersec, please visit www.intersecexpo.com. Goodbye.